we found out that I was pregnant, we both thought that I was infertile, so us having kids of our own was not something that we thought that we could do, so it was definitely like a big shocker and like, where did that come from? So I remember seeing the really, really, really dark line and walking back into the room, and I was like, Carter. And he kind of like sits up on the side of the bed. He's like, what's up? And I was like, I'm pregnant. And I think that he thought that I was kidding, like originally.
Oh gosh. The moment she told me though, like, heart just like, I don't know how to describe a flutter, but like intensified by 10. It was just such a surprise and such an amazing, like, just like a, whoa.
We're like in college, struggling to pay rent. We're like, what are we gonna do? Like, I mean, we had our financial problems, where we were at in our relationship and like just as people in general, we're not, like it was not somewhere that we could raise and have a healthy family. And so like that was a thought in my head. Our kind of like plan for our life was to finish college and then move to Montana. So we were like, well, we still have 2 years left in college. Like we can't raise a kid in an apartment in a college town in Moscow. Like.
We were really trying our best to like, you know, make our ends meet. And when it comes to like, you know, our relationship, like just two college students, you know, two young adolescent people, just young. And I feel like this pregnancy.
We still had a lot of growing up to do before this realistically was something that we could like actually look at.
Oh yeah.
I had already like known about Wish, so I think we literally made an appointment at Wish like that day. I didn't know how far along I was, and I didn't know like, well, realistically anything about pregnancy, like at all. And so I knew that if we came to Wish, we kind of had 3 options to pick from, and so that we could kind of sit down with somebody that knew a lot about it and like hear in depth about all 3 of our options and kind of like how we move forward and like what we're supposed to do now.
I got to know Emma and Carter when they came to Wish Medical for their first appointment when they found out they were pregnant. My role with Emma and Carter was to meet with them as their advocate. They were stressed but very mature and wanted to know everything about their options. And their 3 options were abortion, adoption, and parenting. And we went into detail about those options, and there are options within those options, and it can become overwhelming with so much information.
I think that at that point, the only one that we kind of like both, I feel like unspokenly didn't want to do was adoption. To us at that point, it was like, we either keep it or we don't. And I don't think that either one of us was also really fond on like getting an abortion, but we really like we had no idea what to do. And so I think that once we saw like, yeah, there are resources provided and there's like a way for us to do this, then we're like, yeah, that seems a little bit more realistic now. We could probably swing that.
I was the staff nurse on duty that day, and so I got to participate in their pregnancy test appointment and ultrasound. I remember from that appointment this young couple that were clearly overwhelmed and in shock still. They were also really open to hearing all the information. They were looking for all the information they could. They clearly wanted to make the best decision given their circumstances, but also wanting to do what was right, wanting to do the right thing. So it was very encouraging that they were open to receiving information on all of the options, not just on adoption and abortion, but also on parenting, even in the midst of feeling overwhelmed.
So we quickly moved on to the next step for them, which was to do an ultrasound. And an ultrasound would help verify the pregnancy was in the uterus the age of the baby, and that they could see their baby and the heartbeat.
I think that seeing the ultrasound just kind of like made it a little bit more real. I think you seeing the ultrasound though, he was like I felt him squeeze my hand really hard and I was like, oh, okay, I see how this is gonna go.
That was really exciting, actually. Like, that first ultrasound was a beautiful moment for both of us, for sure, but she's not lying. When I squeezed her hand, like, I felt my heart it was just going, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's our baby.
He was so little, he was like that, he was so tiny.
I'll never forget the expression of seeing the father's face as he viewed his little 12-week baby on the ultrasound screen. It was really precious, very special.
They kind of just let us sit there for a minute looking at the ultrasound. Like, I think for like 5 minutes, we were just like...
Total silence.
Okay, so what do we do? But and then we
cool.
left with our pamphlets, and we kind of made a decision after that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
As the resource coordinator for LifeBridge, I got to meet with them for the first time for a resource intake so that I could tell them about our classes and resources and connect them with those. And then right after the resource intake, I helped them fill out a grant with an agency we're partnering with called Abundant Life, who was able to help give them support for things that we don't have. And then they chose to participate in our Healthy Pregnancy and Parenting Infant class. So I got to see them each week when they would come for class.
I think while we were sitting on the ground of like the floor of my apartment, Kathleen had called us and she was like, so we actually have this other grant that you guys could apply for if you guys needed like some extra help with like moving or anything like that. And then the next appointment that we came in for, she like helped us fill out this whole application for a grant. And like, yeah, no, this is looking more and more possible each time we come in.
Through the grant, through Abundant Life, they got support with the last couple of months of rent here in Moscow before they made their move to Southern Idaho. And then as part of the help for the move, the grant helped them with like the U-Haul expenses, storage unit expenses, and then gas voucher cards for the long journey. So it was really great to see them get that support.
I'm more excited for him to come out, you know, into this beautiful world, and you know, once he starts crawling, once he starts walking, immediately putting him in ice skates, and you know, he's gonna be next NHL debut for sure. You know, like
He wants a hockey star.
she's gonna be hockey mom. I'm hockey dad.
I think that one day if we ever find this video again and we show him this video, I would want to tell him that while we were really scared and that it wasn't a necessarily like a planned thing that happened, we definitely do love that it happened.
I hope Matthew knows that regardless of anything, he's got both of his parents and will always be in his corner.
I think what we really appreciated from Wish was every single time we came in, we were getting resources like thrown at us and like just help after help after help. I think that if it hadn't been for the like Wish medical staff and the funding that we were able to get and this place in general, I don't know if us being parents and us keeping this pregnancy would have been an option. When we first found out, like originally we had an appointment made at Planned Parenthood. Like we still were actively looking at all three of our options. I think that we would have had to figure out how to make one of our other two options work, which wasn't ideal, but I think that it genuinely was because of Wish and from the community and the funding that you guys get that we were able to keep and support this pregnancy and become parents and a family. We got married on the 28th, so
June 28th.
kind of recently actually.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So much.
But now we're gonna be a happy little family of 3.
Where someone can feel so alone like we did, I would not want that on somebody else. And for someone to know that there are more support groups out there that, you know, can have an idea of struggles and can understand a situation can really, you know, kind of bring someone together and kind of just make what feels impossible really possible.
Yeah, genuinely.